he says in the interview that after the altercation and one of his friends was killed,
Yeah.
he decided after that tour, once they completed the tour, he was pretty much done with Guy.
With Guy. Yeah.
And so if you felt like that in your spirit and you just were done with something, I don't understand how you could then later on still be reconsidering, or you would be creating music for Guy if you know that Guy is over. It just doesn't make sense to me. It does something's not doesn't smell right. And then
No,
he
but think
paints
about it. He,
himself.
he, he did leave Guy in about 1991. So the Future album came out 1990. Or was it 89? 89, 90.
Okay.
They go on a world tour. And I remember John Marie talking about how they were on tour and went around, did a world tour, and he just said that's it, I'm out, kind of thing, out just after the tour,
Right.
and went straight to work on Michael's stuff. So there was a
Hmm.
sense of something big is coming, and plus publishing wise, it was a bigger opportunity.
Hmm.
And he just sort of, it felt as if for them, after speaking to Damon, so I'm looking at Damon thinking he just left us high and dry, kind of thing. Um, my impression was that when he moved to Virginia Beach, set up the Future, MCA was a backer, so he had a production deal with MCA, so they can bring in projects. So Blackstreet was one. Um, any of the projects, and I believe that MCA came back to think consider, doing a Guy album, and so this is how it's not a case where he's like, well, let me go back to Guy. I believe because when Damon talked about doing the Guy 3 album, it was MCA coming to them and saying, here's some cash, we want a new Guy album. So I think in that matter, that's how you sort
Right.
of come back, more so the label saying, look, you still owe us an album, and we're ready to pay for it. So if you go back in the studio, so create it. But if all are not ready to go back, then it's like, okay, I've got these songs, I've got these guys, and I've got a production deal. I can then put
Right.
something together. So I think with the Blackstreet side, I think that was it from there.
But then he says he saw an interview with Aaron and Damien, which I kind of remember that interview. I think it was on Video Soul, where they were saying that and I could be wrong, it might not be Video Soul, it might be another show, but
Mm.
I think it was Video Soul because I remember them both being on there, saying that they didn't need Teddy. Um, and that sparked him to get the answer he needed, that he, was finalized that he's not going back to Guy, and he was going to, go forward with Blackstreet. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever really get the real story on that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of questionable things to me. Um, you know, and then I've seen interviews with like Jean Griffey's wife
Okay.
and things of that nature. That's also kind of shed some light on the personality of Teddy. So I do think that there's a lot of not taking any accountability. I think there's painting yourself in a safe victimhood role where you don't, oh well, it wasn't me, it was Gene Griffey that gave us bad contracts or did us dirty. It wasn't me, the label did this. So it's kind of like a safe place where you can kind of point the finger somewhere else when you're the boss. If Dave Hollister comes to you and says, hey, the song that I don't know if this is the catalyst to this, but the song I was on but before I let you go was a hit, I'm gonna need a little bit more money, whatever. You're the boss, you're the final say. So how does Chauncey stop you, the boss, from increasing Dave Hollister's pay? I don't understand that. And how are they partners when this person has brought nothing to the table other than their talent? And you have the money, you have the famous name, you have the string of hits, you have almost a guaranteed hit factor.
Yeah.
So how, that's to me a very questionable relationship. And now those bad choices have led to this person getting a leg up on you and getting uh, ownership over the trademark and copyrights, which he talks about in the interview, which I was a little surprised he brought that information public.
Yeah.
Um, and so now the guys that are, so now the new group is Levi, Eric, Mark, and Chauncey.
Yeah.
So, and like Chauncey's probably the one in control of everything and signing the checks. So we don't know how honest the other guys can be about what happened. So I'm curious to know, why was Chauncey given so much power? And um, like I said, I just think that was a once we get to some of that, we can understand what happened with the Blackstreet situation, because he's the only other mainstay in the group besides Teddy. And for some reason, he's trusted Chauncey to this point to where, he's lost the trademark.
Yeah,
And I need to understand what thought process came across that he was going through that made him make that bad decision,
yeah. I mean,
especially dealing with a Jane Griffin.
yeah. I mean, and I think just finally on this before we move to the New Edition side of the interview, is that so I've reached out to Teddy to do an interview, and initially it seems like he might be open, but um, I'm still waiting to get an interview, and it's
Hmm.
probably but in the interim, I've actually had interviews with two of the four members of Blackstreet. That
Right.
was Eric Williams and Levi Little, and but also I've met up with Chauncey and Mark Middleton, and have, you know to the point, yeah, I've got their numbers, so so
Oh, okay.
and they're in the process, Blackstreet are in the process of coming out with a new album in the new year, and I'm expecting to then interview Mark and Levi, and probably have a new interview with Mark and Chauncey, and have a new interview with Eric and Mark. So I've have a different view of Chauncey and the guys since I've met them
Right.
personally. And one of the things you will not get from Chauncey is anything negative about Teddy, because it's almost a sense of, he'll always be open, and all, and Eric and Levi have been open. And look, Teddy gave them an opportunity, he opened the doors for them, and they acknowledged that
Mm.
he was one of the best producers, and created a style. What they do also,
Well,
what they also do
they've all.
say, yeah, what
Oh,
they
go ahead.
also say is that yes, he opened the door, gave them a platform, and when they were part of the group, and the interviews are there, so people who have seen the interviews have also commented like, yeah, no, we've heard something different. Even Mucho Scott, who was one of Teddy's producers, he's also shared his own versions of how things are. So I think
Yeah,
I think it's one of those things where um, we all hope that they could resolve things,
we do.
but behind the scenes, not publicly, and like that. But I was
But they've always kind of been public though. Like, this is the thing.
no,
Now
but when you
they're
do
all
ask,
much
because
older,
no, but
but
when you
there's
do
been.
ask them though, because Chauncey and Blackstreet came to the UK a couple of years ago, they had an interview on BBC, and they asked them, like, are you guys cool with Teddy? And would you bring him back? And they all said, yeah, we're cool with Teddy, and if he wants to be part of us, we're here. So they publicly have said that. So
Mm.
they've not said anything negative about him. I
Have
know
you
that.
heard Teddy Riley's unreleased album Black Rock?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it had, yeah, yeah, it's, yeah, yeah. As a Teddy fan, I think I
And I
wasn't.
do remember Chauncey having a diss record as well. And I do remember a few interviews where Teddy has went at Mark and Eric. So, I mean, they're much older now, more mature. So I
Yeah,
hope that everybody is kind of like more mature now. And
yeah.
but it's been kind of public. They've went to the public airways to air out their grievances, and so
And
I don't
and
know. I don't know that
that's
I
been a,
buy everybody's kumbaya and it's just a misunderstanding. But I do hope that everything resolves itself naturally. But
mhm.
that's Teddy even used this uncensored interview to warn them, and so in certain words to say, hey, if they can't get this resolved, nobody's getting no money.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
mean, it's kind of ugly. It's getting ugly, and I don't know. I mean, it seems like a lot of bad blood. But what I don't understand is, Teddy, you said you have catalog outside of Blackstreet and Guy, and that catalog has made money. So I don't understand why you can't let this particular um, battle go, because you have had a lot more success, great success with Michael
Yeah.
Jackson, so many successes outside of Blackstreet. Why can't you let this go? Like you seemingly forgave Gene Griffin on his deathbed. Why can't you just let this go? These
Yeah.
guys are still alive. Let's call let it be resolved. Let it be over and move on. Because um, if we remember I just don't buy. This is what I'm trying to say. I don't buy this whole victim role. I do remember Jimmy Love Jenkins giving an interview and saying that when he met Teddy was like protected by the goons and the drug dealers of the street. I, Teddy's from the projects. You know, I don't believe that he's just this real soft lamb, this soft spoken guy. Even Gene Griffin's wife said that he's not as soft spoken as he appears in the interviews. So I mean, there's another side we're not seeing. I just don't believe it. You don't get, and I know this from my own experience. You don't get to be there and be soft and meek and a lamb. Like you have to be a roaring lion in that jungle. Like the music industry is, especially how many times he didn't got, you know, shafted with the money situation or the copyrights, etc.
Yeah.
So, I don't buy that, but I also don't understand the nature of the business partnership of, Teddy and Chauncey. I just think it's weird that he says in his own interview, I'm not making these things up. He said in his own interview, I put this guy up in the house. I paid all the bills. Who does that for just who does that? There has to be some reason that you have felt that, you know, I trust this person. I'm gonna put them up in a place, but did you do that for anybody else? Everybody else had to
Yeah.
eat too. So it was
Yeah.
kind of a lot of, if you really listen, the people that watch that interview, go back and watch it and analyze it.
Yeah.
Because if you really listen to the things that's being said, a lot of it you wouldn't do. And if it doesn't make sense, usually it's not true.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
but
anyway,
again,
yeah. So I mean, for me, for the final part would really be that um,
the
I'm
new
a
edition.
I'm a massive Teddy fan, and um, but I've now become friends with the members of this Blackstreet, and so
Right.
it's a balance of here's the person I've idolized as a musician, producer, and stuff, and then here's some guys who've become friends, and in a way that so listening to the interview, it was like, wow, I didn't expect that kind of open attack. But anyway, it's something that
I
we would hope that
I did.
that Teddy would give us an opportunity next year to hear his side, um, but more so in a positive light.